The idea is that when we are looking at drama triangles, we are saying that when we are born, there is a trauma that happens to us. That trauma puts us in a victim phase. We are in a victim phase. Now, when we get into a victim phase, we don't like that feeling. How many of us like to feel like a victim? You like to feel like a victim? Well, let me tell you that when we first experienced victimization, we didn't like it. But then, eventually, over a period of time, when we realize that there are advantages of being a victim. When I play a victim, oh my God, Garib Bichari, iske boj ki mari, uske boj ki mari. Then what people around me do? Oh my God, such a lovely person, and how can such horrible things happen to you? So you get sympathy from people. You get validation from people. You get attention from people. Now that becomes a motivational factor. You are continuing to be in the victim phase because it has helped you to get acceptance from people. Now, when we look at getting that acceptance from people, because we don't have that acceptance and therefore we are okay to feel like a victim. So, liking the victim phase is a learned mechanism. Given a choice, if I did not feel reinforced about the victim phase, I would never want to be in a victim phase. Do we agree to that? We don't like to feel like a victim. So when I feel like a victim continuously, then my defense mechanism kicks in and it says, no, no, let's not be the victim. And what comes up as a defense mechanism is my rescuer. A rescuer part of me kicks in because it says, no, we don't like to feel like a victim. So let me cover it up by becoming a rescuer to my victim. So there is one part of me which is feeling powerless. Then there is a defense mechanism that I pick up, which comes from a rescuer mentality, and that tries to protect the victim from that rescues the victim from the victim phase. Now, when I practice this for some time, then people keep telling me, hey, she's like this only. She's a pleaser only. She's not powerful, she just does this only every time. Now, that same defense which was working for me does not work for me in the outside world. And therefore, this defense, which was my rescuer, brings up a persecutor or somebody who's saying, this is not okay. This behavior is not okay. It's not okay to be this. You are not growing in life because you are being this person. I'll give you examples to explain the drama triangle. Just understand the theory at first. On a theoretical level, it is a victim that I experience. Then there is a defense mechanism that I pick up because it helps me to cope up with the victim phase and it helps me to survive. Now, when I'm surviving for myself, it's my external world who says, oh, she's a pleaser. Oh, she's a defender. Oh, she's like this only. She doesn't do anything better. Or she cannot be someone better. And therefore, we feel a rejection from the external world. And then I pick up a coping mechanism, which is a persecutor, which says, you cannot be a pleaser here. You have to choose situations when you can be a pleaser. And that becomes my coping mechanism or that becomes my persecutor. Now understand the victim, the rescuer, and the persecutor together make one personality pattern. And by the time we are 4 years and 5 years of age, we have already formed one personality pattern. By the time we are 7 or 8 years of age, when our logical thinking develops, by that time we have developed two personality patterns. And by the time you are in your pre-teens, which is like 11 and 12, recently, in the recent times, earlier it was 14, 15, but recent times the age has come down. So by 11, 12, the pre-teens, you have already developed three personality patterns. What do I mean by this? That means one victim, one rescuer, and one persecutor is one personality. One victim, one rescuer, one persecutor, second pattern, and the third pattern. Like this, three, if there is too much of trauma, maximize four personality patterns is what we carry within us. And then we use our coping and our defenses in different intensities based on our perception of the situation that comes into play. My external environment offers a situation in which I will act, and then the intensity of where I am drawn into the drama. Why is it called a drama? Because once the victim is activated, the rescuer and the persecutor will be activated in a cycle. Now understand, these patterns are helping me to survive. And these are also offering me a learning experience. These also offer me an opportunity to unlearn the coping mechanisms, unlearn the defense mechanisms, or not make them always and never. Usually, I'm never triggered or I'm always triggered in that phase of life. So these are coping and defense mechanisms which should be used judicially and in awareness. However, if we are not aware of our patterns, then we are just being hooked into the drama which is outside of us. Now, how do I know about a drama that is outside of me? I am very peaceful. I'm living a very happy life. I'm all very centered and everything is going fine. And something happens in my environment. A very simple thing. I'm walking on the streets. Somebody throws garbage out of their car on the streets. And a righteous part of me gets very triggered. A part of me which says, I have high civic sense, gets triggered. And what am I doing? I get hooked into that drama, which is an external factor, and I become the persecutor by labeling that person as uncouth. Oh my God, what a uncivil person. How can people do this? How wrong is it for people to do this? And we get into that mode of judging people, of labeling people as wrong. And why am I labeling people as wrong? Because at a deeper level, I want to feel that I am doing the right thing. At some level, I am triggered by that action because at a certain level, I feel, how can this person get away by this action while I was punished as a child? While I was told so many times as a child, you can't do this, only wrong people do this, only bad people dirty our city. Now, I'm not going into the right and the wrong. I'm not going into whether this is a right conditioning, whether it is a wrong conditioning. I'm not judging the conditioning. I am judging the state in which I get triggered. Now, when I am triggered, I am evaluating the process. I can say negative things about these people. Just give me 1 second, people. Just give me 1 second. Okay, Tushar is coming. My dog here is going to bark. So when I am triggered, I'm evaluating the process. When I am evaluating the process, I am saying, is this person worthy of my reprimand? Can I go and tell him, hey, excuse me, you're not supposed to dirty the streets. You're supposed to follow a certain code of conduct. But I will evaluate in my own head and say, no, 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 let's not take panga with these people. And therefore, I may not want to go and say this, so that I'm just going to talk to myself and say, anyways, people are like this only. And I destroy my own peace by talking about these people and wasting my time on how people are not acting as per the civil code of conduct. Now, does it matter to this person who's thrown the garbage outside? He's thrown and gone. It has not bothered him at all. So he is not a part of the drama. The part of the drama is you and your external environment. You started as a persecutor by labeling this person in your head as uncouth, as person who doesn't follow civil norms. And then you are feeling like a victim because he didn't get punished. He didn't get a lesson that he deserved. So then you are also triggering the victim that is within you. And then what do you do to cover up the victim? You're saying, जाने देना अपने को क्या? Why should we bother about these things? Anyways, uska karam, his karmic cycle, he will deal with it. And so I am defending my victim by saying, you will be rewarded for what good you do, and he will be rewarded for what bad he or she does. Don't we get into these kind of dramas on a regular basis, on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, with the self talk that we are doing? That is an external drama which you got hooked into because your victim or your persecutor or your rescuer got hooked into the drama. How not to get hooked into this drama is to understand that he threw the garbage. What can be my sense of responsibility? I pick up the garbage and put it in the bin if it is bothering me so much. But then, how many of us have the courage to pick up somebody else's dirt and put it in the dustbin? Because another belief system triggers, that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to correct him. My responsibility is not to take care of his garbage. Who wants the country clean? Who wants the street clean? So, whose responsibility to make it clean? Is a clean city that person's requirement and necessity? He's not even aware. Probably when we are doing, we've also done that so many times. We've thrown things outside unknowingly. I'm talking especially in India. Yes or no? When we are preoccupied in our thoughts, we don't think of what we are doing with our environment or what we are putting out in our environment. Only when I'm centered, only when I'm happy, when I'm in my awareness, I am the best version of me. But when I am unhappy, when I am a victim, or when I'm trying to rescue people, I have so many things on my mind that I'm not concentrating on what I am doing with my environment outside. We are not aware. We don't do it on purpose. We just do it in unawareness because we have not practiced it so much that it has become a part of my daily being. Yes, no, maybe so. Right? So understand that when we are talking of a drama triangle, when we are talking of hooks, whatever in my environment bothers me is something that I need to look inside of me. If something outside of me is bothering me, then it is a mirror. My environment is a mirror of my triggers of my drama triangle. If something has the ability to hook me into the drama that I'm carrying inside, then it is real. How many of us relate to movies, songs? We relate to movies, songs. Some movies are so close that we are like, yeah, this is a very close to my heart. Oh, this song brings tears to my eyes. Oh, that scene in that movie always makes me feel emotional. We agree to this? Now, when we are relating to these things, understand that these are outside of me and they are saying, look inside, it is you. Whatever has resonated with you outside is your inside story. When I relate to a song, as a child, I had experiences where I was given to my aunt, and I lived with my aunt in most part of my childhood. And there is this English song, I'm nobody's child, I'm nobody's child, and like a flower, I'm growing wild. No mummy's kisses, not even daddy's smiles, and like a flower, I'm just growing wild. And that song used to be so close to my heart. I was like, oh, what a lovely song. Without realizing that is a part of me that is saying, I want my mama's smiles. I want my daddy's kisses and hugs. I don't feel a sense of belonging at my aunt's place and I want to belong. And that is why that song touched my soul. It touched and it says, oh my God, yeah. How many of us have an affiliation for love stories? We believe that there are love stories. Pretty Woman touched so many lives because we all have this thought that, oh, I am the poor damsel in distress, and there is this Prince Charming who's going to come and rescue me. And the Prince Charming has to be very rich. And he's going to take care of all my needs. Isn't that our story? Don't we all want to be rescued? And that is why Pretty Woman became such a big hit. All the Yash Raj films, all the movies that we resonate with, Tushar, my all-time, your and my all-time favorite, "Ae Dil Hai Mushkil." See how it resonates with you and me. Look at, for an all-time favorite, you won't believe this, but Devdas was a movie I watched 147 times. And I'm not even joking. 147 times. It is the woman who is living in a brothel, and the spirituality that she embraces and the person that she becomes was so much of a resonance of, oh, I am living in the gutters and I am embracing a spiritual part of me. So therefore that character Madhuri Dixit was so close to me. We begin to resonate with movies. All the people who resonated with the Titanic and the love story of the Titanic. Look at how a rich woman is wanting to be defiant and saying that I am not going to follow social norms. I want my freedom to do what I want to do. It actually resonated with so many people. And we felt, wow, what a character. And we all saw ourselves in those characters. So understand, when we resonate with something that is outside of us, we are resonating with something that is inside of us. The outside is only a mirror for us. It is a reminder, look at this, look at this, look at this. And when I look at those aspects of me, it is an opportunity for me to see the toxic or the unhealthy parts of me. Because nobody likes to be triggered. Are we happy to be triggered? I am. Let me be honest. I like to be triggered because I love drama in life. Many of us love drama in life because otherwise life will become very boring. If you ask my husband and my children, I don't laugh at their jokes. I have such a grim and a silly face that it's a judgmental face that I put up in front of them. Okay? How can you crack jokes about something like this? You are making someone feel so small. And why does this happen? Is I'm trying to poke them and say, y'all are so unworthy people. You're talking of wellness and y'all are cracking jokes and making judgments about other people. And guess who's making the biggest judgment when I'm telling this to them? I am judging them for the jokes they are cracking. I am judging them for their sense of humor. And I'm telling them, you're not supposed to judge people for their shortcomings. Am I not doing the same? So understand, triggers are mirrors for us to see what's not working for us. Does that make sense? And does it mean I should not partake into the drama? Of course not. We love drama. It adds a lot of spice to our life. And we all like chatpata things in life. We all like our life to be all spiced up. Boring phika dal chawal is not something that we might like to eat on a daily basis. We want that achar. We want that papad. So that adds the spice to our life. So drama adds spice to our life. However, I must be in control of when I allow the drama to work on me and when I allow the drama to not work for me. I should be in control when to be hooked, and I should be in control when to be unhooked. Sometimes I can just observe the drama, enjoy it, and go. And sometimes I might just act on the drama, be the drama, and then come back and say, okay, I'm chill. Is this making sense so far? Any questions about the victim, the persecutor, and the rescuer? Yes, yes. Please ask, Jaideep. Unmute yourselves.
Pallavi, you said that by nature we don't like to be a victim,
Hmm.
right? But I've seen people, who love sympathy
Hmm.
and they always like to be in that victim mode.
Correct. Correct. And I told you right in the beginning, we love the victim because there is a lot of sympathy that I get and people rescue me. I don't have to take action. Jaideep, I can't do this. Oh my God, I'm such a poor me. And Jaideep will say, don't worry, I'll do it for you. मला चहाच बनवता येत नाही. Mama, you make the best tea in this world. I can never make tea like you. What have you done? You have put your mother on a pedestal and now she's going to rescue you. She's going to make tea for you for the rest of her life. And you have played the victim very nicely. I can't boil water also. So when you can't boil water, can I give you work? How beautifully have you played the victim and the victim is helping you, no, survive? You don't have to put in an effort. मम्मा तुझ्यासारखं जेवण कोणीच बनवत नाही. Nobody can cook like you. There the mother is put on a pedestal. मी करते. I will do this. I will do this. I will do this. And one day you tell your mother, I don't want to eat what you are cooking. Finished. You've destroyed her. So if you have put your mother on a pedestal by telling her that, okay, I love what you cook, I love what you cook, I love what you cook, you have rescued her victim phase and you've told her, no, 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 you are the best. And one day you tell her, I don't want to eat what you cook, I'm going to order Chinese. See how her self-worth is destroyed. Oh, now you don't like to eat what I'm cooking also. अब मेरे हाथ का खाना क्यों पसंद करोगे? तेरी बीवी आई है ना, अभी वो अच्छा खाना बनाएगी, अभी मेरे इंपॉर्टेंस ही खत्म. शी इज नाउ हुक्ड यू इनटू द ड्रामा. शी इज बिकम योर persecutor and she's made you a victim. And then you go around rescuing her by saying, नाही नाही मम्मा असं नाही, पण बायको पण माझीच आहे ना, बीवी भी मेरी ही है, तो मेरे को उसको थोड़ा प्लीज करना पड़ेगा. तेरे जैसा तो खाना नहीं पकाती, अच्छा बना लेती है, पर मम्मा क्या है ना, उसको भी तो खुश रखना है ना मेरे को. एंड इफ योर वाइफ हियर्स दिस, शी इज अच्छा, so I am not as good as your mother, so then ask her only to cook, no? Then why do you need me in this whole bargain? See how many victims and how many persecutors are playing the drama inside each other. Fun. And we are doing it in unawareness. I do it in awareness. I hook my mother, I hook my husband, I hook my maid, I hook my masi, and I let them play the drama. I withdraw and I sit and I watch. Tell us.
Ma'am, actually, I am in a joint family.
Yes,
So
more drama.
I do it on a purpose, and
Uh, See,
I
Krishna.
always, yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. No, no, please speak.
Actually, I always, like Jaideep sir said, I always like to be a victim. Actually, it is good or bad, I don't know, but I usually be a victim and make everyone do my work.
See, lovely. And let me tell you, Krishna was with me during COVID when we did the PDP for him, and he's learned these concepts very well and internalized them.
Yes.
So he loves to play the drama and he's learnt about the drama triangle earlier. So he knows what to do and what not to do with the drama.
Yes, ma'am.
Beautiful. Yes, Drishti.
So when you say that w- there's something happening in our external environment and
Hmm.
we get triggered
Hmm.
and there's a drama happening in our life. Um, for
Drama
example,
happening outside of our life and we get hooked and we trigger the internal drama.
like I used to work at a workplace which
Hmm.
was very toxic and my
Hmm.
manager used to shout all the
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
And it was creating a very big drama scene in
Hmm.
the office and you're aware of it.
Correct.
So there was a time where you said that what is inside of me that is creating that drama.
Hmm. No, the drama is happening. It's a situation that is happening. You get hooked onto it because something inside has triggered, and now you want to do it otherwise. You want to change the perception of the situation outside. And that is why you hook yourself into the drama. Because
Understand.
okay, give me an example of what happens. A real
My
example.
manager's
Hmm.
real example. My manager is shouting at me
Stop. My manager is shouting at me. What does it mean if my manager is shouting at me?
that I'm doing something wrong.
Okay. Is that the only explanation for it?
Yeah. In my
No.
head, yeah.
Yes, in your head, yeah. Is there any other explanation for why her manager would be shouting at her? Jaideep, you should be able to tell me. You are the manager. I mean, you manage so many people.
Maybe one thing could be maybe she's doing much better than what he's doing, and he just
Perfect. You are
wants to
better
put it
than the
around.
boss and you're triggering I am not good enough for him. That could be another explanation to what you are saying. A third yes, Tushar, please say.
Other explanation might be, he's getting shouted at him, at for completing certain tasks or project.
He's
And
displacing his
yeah, he's
frustration upon
displacing.
you
Yeah,
because he perceives you as a weak person.
yeah,
And he's
possible.
having a bad day and he's come back. I mean, his wife has shouted at him. He didn't have the courage to shout at her. So he's shouting at you. So one is his bosses could be shouting at him. One is something else that he's doing here. But then the only meaning Drishti draws out of this situation is, oh, he says I'm not doing things right. He hasn't mentioned that to you. But that is
Yeah,
the
he
meaning.
has.
Okay. So if he has said that you are not doing something right and he's shouting at you, could it be that it is his coping mechanism to shout and make you wrong, but not treat you like an adult because he himself doesn't feel like an adult? When we were monitors in class, in school, we were so powerless with that monitorship. We were so powerless by being those leaders, class leaders, that when somebody used to make a mischief or be mischievous, what would we tell them? मैं टीचर को बोल दूंगी, behave yourselves, don't do this. We used to shout. Because we are powerless, we are trying to tell them how much in power I am. Do you think the boss could be doing that?
Yeah. But then that's again like
Hold
that's a
on, hold on,
drama,
hold on. I'm
right?
coming. Correct. So now what happened is his shouting was meaningless till you added the meaning that he is disrespecting me and crossing his boundary by shouting at me. It is a
Yeah.
meaning you added that may not be his intention. Correct. Now, when you add this meaning, what has triggered in you? The victim. When the victim is triggered, then automatically the rescuer comes in. And the rescuer says, let's reason with this man. And you say, boss, don't shout at me. This is not a tone I will accept from you. And he says, I'm your boss. Don't teach me how to do things. So the rescuer is also failed. So then the persecutor comes up and you tell him, I'm going to talk to the super bosses. Now you wait and watch. I'm going to complain about you to the super bosses. What happened? The whole personality pattern of the drama triangle triggered within you. Did it trigger within him? We don't know. Did it trigger within you? Definitely.
Yeah.
And then you realize how things keep going in a loop, keep going in a loop, because when you can't punish him, you are using a higher source to punish him. When that higher source doesn't act upon it, then you add another higher source, and then you add another higher source. Who is the one who's suffering?
Me.
There you go. So the more you use the persecutor and the rescuer, the more victim you make yourself.
So then how do you actually come out of the drama when you're aware that, okay, this is a drama that's happening inside me?
Then you have to be aware that I'm feeling triggered. And you can say, hey Drishti, I recognize that you're triggered and you feel disrespected by his actions. We don't know this man's intentions. Let me put the triggered part of you aside and let me continue doing my work as an adult. Because the triggers are always inner children. What is triggered is never the adult. What is triggered within you is always an inner child, a child that made a meaning of an environment, the child who defined that if something like this is happening in my environment, it means this about the situation. When we talk about it means this about the situation, then the rescuer comes in and says, okay, if this is what you are feeling, I'm going to rescue you by doing something. And then when you do something, you are again hurting the environment. When you put a boundary for your victim, the external environment says, oh, now you're being rude. So then you put up a coping mechanism to avoid hurting the environment. And therefore, that becomes a toxic pattern because the more I put boundaries to my experience, the less freedom do I experience in my environment. When I close a door with a boundary, who is trapped behind the boundary? I am. When I put up a boundary, I am the one who's trapped behind the boundary. When I close a door, I am the one who's trapped behind the door. The world is happening outside the door. So when I'm feeling vulnerable and if I close myself up to process the vulnerability, that is a fair thing. But if I keep myself closed because I don't want to experience vulnerability outside, I'm closing myself to growth. But I love the word but full of shit. And discounts everything you said before it. I never said it was easy to put yourselves in and put yourselves out. Put yourselves in and put yourselves out. I was very young when I realized this, that the ship is safest in the harbor, but that is not where it was meant to be. I will be almost, if I lock myself up in my room and I say that, okay, I'm not going to expose myself to external world, I will never grow. I will continue to hold my toxic patterns within. They will never be triggered also because my environment is not there to trigger me. But have I grown as a person? What is maturity? Maturity is to make a different meaning of the experience outside of you and not make the same meanings that I have made as a child. When I don't expose myself to the society outside, I don't give myself the permission to grow. Drishti, what is
I
the
get it.
yeah?
Yeah.
It's see, the whole idea is to go out there, feel vulnerable, change your perceptions, come back. Feel vulnerable, change your perceptions, come back. And by doing that, you add so many new things to your kitty that you don't have to use only one thing. As a child, if you like the color yellow, you don't buy only yellow things in your cupboard, it becomes boring. You go out there and look at different colors and say, can I allow this color to become another of my favorites? And then you add so much of variety to your life, and then you have excitement in your life. You are breaking boundaries. That's a very lovely thought. You break boundaries, the boundaries that you have put up in the form of conditioning. And then we don't complain that, oh, I feel so limited in my experiences. Life isn't happening to me. Things aren't really as I want it to be. How will things be as you want them to be if you don't expose yourselves to what is outside of you? The external environment is only a mirror of your internal landscape. And if you allow your internal landscape to shift, then your external landscape also shifts. Because the environment is offering opportunities of growth. If I don't grow, then the experience keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. It's ATKT. You didn't pass, do it again. You didn't pass, you do it again. You didn't pass, you do it again. And you pass and you go to the next class. When you go to the next class, then different challenges, different problems, and you have a certain time limit to learn the lessons from those problems. And then we are able to master them. And then the next class. That's life, no? Beautiful lessons we learn from our education system, from our social system, from our personal systems, from our conditioning, so many aspects. The 4 conditionings that I said, the 4 things in your sphere: socio, economic, educational, and religious backgrounds. All these 4 teach you life lessons. They give you conditions so that you can then grow. All these 4 give you conditions for you to grow. Because if you look at the rules that you picked up and you make them your guidelines, then you are able to shift between the guidelines. Then the triggers are not there. Making sense, Krishna and Smita? The
Yes,
others are
ma'am.
not. Thank you. So understand what triggers are. We get triggered by the external environment. And how do we cope? Many of us become judgmental. Many of us make jokes out of it because they've triggered something inside. We just want to feel knowledgeable. Then we tend to share knowledge. Become aware of why am I doing what I'm doing. When we become more aware of what we are doing, then automatically we become aware of our shortcomings or the limitations by which we are binding ourselves. Does everybody understand the difference between a victim, a rescuer, and a persecutor? Drishti, I didn't see you
Yeah.
nod. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you. Yes, Tushar.
Thank you. So, I understand that, there is a victim, persecutor, and a rescuer. But
Hmm.
in real life situations, it happens so fast, like it's like in a millisecond or maybe a split second thing that we get hooked into a drama. So
Correct.
how like how the level of awareness also should be at a certain level to understand, okay, my boss is shouting at me, or like my friend is showing certain attitude towards me. I should not be, getting into this. So how to increase that awareness in the first place to understand that, okay, this thing can be like, slow mode or expanded so that I can understand that I'm getting hooked now.
Perfect. Do you remember what I said 2 talks before? What are the 4 things that we need to do? Drishti, can you tell me what are the 4 things we need to do on a daily basis? One is attitude of gratitude,
Yeah, letter, attitude of gratitude, um, emotional
emotional tracker.
tracker.
Hold on. Once you begin to track your emotions on an hourly basis, you know that, oh, I was triggered here. I felt angry. I felt like a victim. I felt like this. Then question, where did this come from? Because if you are not aware, you'll never work on it. And what you rightly said, when we are in the drama, we are not aware. We are so enjoying the drama that we are not aware. But then the drama in the external environment finishes at some point in time. It continues in my mental landscape. And that is when you can catch yourselves and say, hey, drama khatam. I'm still carrying it in my head. Now, Drishti, look at it. Your boss shouted at you, say, a week ago. How many days are you carrying it in your head even today? that it becomes a question for our workshop. Correct? So the drama still is continuing in your head. It ended with that shout, it ended there. The boss has forgotten that he shouted at you also. But it is in your head even today, because the insult that you felt, the disrespect that you felt is still very active in you. And then ask yourselves, why do I feel disrespected? Why do I give somebody else the permission to disrespect me? Why have I given that person so much power to disrespect me? Does he know even 1% of Drishti to have that power? I don't give that power to my husband, to my children, even to my mother. And these are very three important relationships in most people's lives. Mother, father.
When you mean give power, you mean the label that he's disrespecting me, right?
One is that, and two is, why do you let his actions affect you?
Then
There are
how,
so
like,
many people, hold on, there are
going
so
back to
many.
Tushar's question, sorry.
Hmm.
What do you mean let him disrespect you? He's shouting at me, right?
Yeah,
I
but
can
that doesn't mean disrespect. Every day in the morning, I have to tell my mother, please reduce your volume. You're talking too loudly. And she is doing that out of habit, because she is talking to my aunt who might be hard of hearing. So she talks very loudly with my aunt. There is too much of traffic noise in my house outside through the day. So she has to talk loudly so that she can be overheard over the traffic noise. But talking loudly has become so much a part of her life that she speaks loudly only. Hey, Pallavi, काय करणार? See how everybody got scared. But this is her tone at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Now, she is shouting at me is one meaning I can make, or she always speaks in this tone. She has no other tone to talk. And you cannot give Drishti what you don't have. So if your boss doesn't have self-respect, can he give you self-respect? So why are you expecting him to respect you? Do you respect yourselves enough to say, okay, he's shouting, that's his story, it doesn't apply to me? He's shouting, he's screaming because something has triggered him. I am not getting hooked as a victim to his persecution. He's trying to persecute me, and I'm allowing him to persecute me, and then I will feel like a victim. I'm not making meaning of his shouting at all. Go shout, go bark. I don't care. I know I haven't done anything wrong. Sorry, you are misperceiving my actions. I haven't been a bad employee. I have done my work right. Sorry if you can't see it. That's an adult way of thinking. Oh, now he's shouting at me. Mama is screaming at me. I don't like to be screamed at, and he's screaming and I'm feeling so small. That is a child. What triggers you is your inner child. The drama happens to an inner child. The rescuer is an inner child. The coping mechanism, the persecutor is an inner child. The adult speaks to an adult. And when I'm saying adult, we are not talking of the physical age. We are talking of the mental age of the person. I can talk adult to adult with a 4-year-old. I can talk adult to adult with a 90-year-old. I don't have to put them on a pedestal of, oh my God, they're my parents. Yes, they are my parents, but I don't have to be subservient to anyone. When we become a victim, we already put somebody else on a pedestal and say, oh, you can't treat me like this, okay? Don't talk to me in this tone. I deserve self-respect. So understand, when we are hooked into the drama, we are hooked as a child. And a child is reactive, not responsive. If I'm hooked into a drama, I am reactive. When I am acting like an adult to a child, now your boss is acting childish by screaming at you. And you can just turn around and say, you're angry and you're misperceiving my actions. I will talk to you when you're calm. And walk away from there. You have gained your power. You made him powerless. And have you disrespected him at any point in time? He will be forced to look at his own actions. Drishti is in a very reflective mode.
I'm thinking about like all the situations, not just my boss. Like I'm thinking like everything that has hooked me.
Don't do that. One thing at a time. Because when you put all the triggers together, then it's going to create a web and you'll just get entangled and enmeshed. Eat the elephant piece by piece.
I also have one question. When there is something in the external environment, especially on our social media nowadays,
Hmm.
that triggers us. Like
Hmm.
if we look at
Us
someone,
no. That triggers me.
okay, that triggers me. If I look at someone who has a better body or someone who has a better life than I do,
Hmm.
and then I get triggered, then
Hmm.
how is that a trigger to my inner child? Because that's
So
something like I'm
you,
putting
no, hold. You have defined what a better body is. You have defined what a better life is. Has the social media defined it for you?
no,
Who's defined it?
I have.
And it's only a perception. No? For
Yeah.
you, X person might have a better body or X person might have a better life as compared to you. But if you ask that person says, I want a better body and a better life as compared to Y. You can, yes, like Mukta says, you can ideally use this trigger to your advantage by switching it on and off. So the point is, you are envious about this person's body. Great. Are you using it as a motivation to make your body like that? Then it's a positive. But if you're going to beat yourselves up, oh my God, I'm so this, I'm not that, then challenging. And why give power to social media to make you feel miserable? First of all, you are on social media by your choice. And then when somebody posts something on in there, you're giving that person so much power to make you feel powerless. And then you're saying, it's like putting your hand in fire and saying, my hand is burning. Don't go to social media often. And don't keep watching or don't compare your life to a fake life on the social media. Tell me how many posts on social media are genuine. And then how much of you is dependent on fake life.
On
Next.
social media. I'm just giving an example. Like,
I'm also talking about the same example. See, I'm saying
mm,
we have to understand that we are giving power to the external environment to make us feel big or small. Like for Tushar and for me, when people watch our videos and when people put thumbs up and when people put comments, we both are on cloud nine. Hey, appreciate. See, so many likes. See, so many. We've given power to people to make us feel good about ourselves. Is that trust here? Here, here, here. If it is here, I don't need validation outside. I know that my content is good. If people appreciate, yes, I'm happy, but I don't go in cloud nine. I keep myself grounded. Yes, Jaideep.
Actually, I told same to Mukta, she's doing a podcast. I said, don't read the comments at all. You don't
Hmm.
have to read the comments because comments can be positive, comments can be negative. You know you're doing the right thing, believe in yourself. That's it. Don't read comments.
No, you should read comments, but not make them personal.
I
Because,
did for her.
cool. So, see, reading comments is a good way to get feedback. It's the crochet on my back. So, I have to decide whether I should take a comment seriously or whether I should dismiss a comment. Don't make those comments personal. So, if you make it personal, you are allowing yourselves to be triggered in the hook. So, don't allow that to happen. And yes, it's not going to happen overnight because we are used to social validation. We want people to accept us. We want people to love us. But one thing I learned from Dr. Harish Shetty. साला दुनिया में इतना लोग है, उसमें से 50% लोग अगर मुझसे प्यार करे तो बेटर है, 50% कैन हेट मी. And if in life today, everyone I know hates me, then I should be grateful the other half that I don't know loves me. And I just have to find them. What a powerful statement. Because if I'm expecting, अरे हम भगवान को भी unconditionally नहीं accept करते. Tomorrow, if Tushar stands up and says, I am Vishnu ka avatar, what is your and my first reaction? Ha 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 ha. What an unsalted avatar of Vishnu. Look at him. He's already felt like Vishnu already. The idea being, we all have ideas about how Vishnu should be. And therefore, a condition that you cannot be like this. Where is that yellow light behind your head? Where are your multiple hands and your weapons and weaponry? Where is your hand for prasad and hand for ashirwad? Where is your chakra? We are expecting all of these things. When we don't accept God unconditionally, how are you and I going to accept any human being unconditionally? And if I can't accept every human being unconditionally, what right do I have to say that people should accept me unconditionally? Thank you, Smita. Make sense? Great. Any other questions? Because we are coming to an end. Tushar has not reminded me about the time today. Any questions about the drama triangle? Anything that you haven't understood about the drama triangle? Anything that we need clarity about the drama triangle? I know still 10 minutes. I love it because Smita is excited about the talk. She said, "Hey, 10 minute waste mat karo." I know, I know, I know, I know. So,
To put this, but I do have a question again.
okay.
I feel like I ask all the questions, guys.
But
Come on.
that's, that's a very beautiful thing, Drishti. Because one is you're applying what I'm saying to your life, and that's raising questions. That also says that you're not accepting everything I'm saying unconditionally, which is wise. Because you're not putting me on a pedestal saying that, oh, you know what, you say the right things. So it keeps me grounded. One. Two is that you're listening, which I think everybody here is listening. Okay. But when you accept everything I say without challenging it, then it is not really the right thing to do. We are in a mutual relationship where I'm learning from you and growing with you, and vice versa.
Yeah. The question. You said we put boundaries to our experience where we protect ourselves from that experience. It's like the prosecutor inside
Hmm.
us
Hmm.
that protects us.
No, it's the
So
rescuer in us that protects us.
the rescuer inside us who protects us.
Hmm.
So now I am protecting myself from getting into any kind of relationships, any
Hmm.
romantic relationships, because
Hmm.
I don't want to get hurt,
Hmm.
right? So that's me protecting me.
Yeah.
So how do you know when you are experiencing something that you're actually protecting yourself for the good or the bad?
If you protect yourselves for one relationship, I understand. But if you're going to close yourself up behind that door and never allow romantic relationships to happen to you, you are limiting your experience. Anything that is limiting is not great. You can choose to meet someone and say, hey, this sounds like a toxic relationship, and then draw a boundary. I understand. But before even recognizing the person, before meeting the person, because you've had 4 toxic relationships, you're saying the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 12th, 50th is going to be toxic. And therefore, I don't want to experience it at all. That is one. Two is, are you labeling an experience as toxic because of an internal factor or because of an external factor? If it is because of an external factor, you have a right to protect yourselves. But if it is because of an internal factor, most of us have this belief that I don't deserve love. Because if my mother didn't love me, then nobody can love me unconditionally. Most of us who've had traumatic childhood experiences, we believe that we don't deserve unconditional love. And therefore, when we see unconditional love, we start to find faults with it. We start to find problems saying that, oh, this is not perfect in this manner. Oh, this should have been there. Oh, that should have been there. And then we start putting conditions of why it is imperfect.
And if the man is actually imperfect, it's also a reflection of me, right?
Hold
Because
on.
you
Yes,
said,
yes. The man outside, if he's imperfect, it's a reflection of the imperfection within me.
yeah.
So if I see toxicity, like I said, if you start to heal the toxicity here, you will never find toxic environment outside because it's not a projection of here. We are always projecting what is inside on the outside. If I perceive a lack here, then my environment is going to be of a lack. If I perceive abundance here, then I'm going to see abundance in my environment. Great.
Yeah. I have no more questions.
No more questions for today. Thank you so much.